It even sparked a religion.
All our information comes through our leader, who is a yogi, who is in direct contact with space intelligences.
We are your friends. We are your friends. Please contact us.
Then, on the 11th of November 1987, they did. It all began when a successful businessman called Ed Walters saw a strange light above his garden. He grabbed his camera and took this photograph. It was the first of dozens of sightings over the next few years.
Oh, my God!
I'm going to follow it down. I'm going to follow it down.
When the still pictures were enhanced, they seemed to show something that looked remarkably like flying saucers. The saucers were witnessed by hundreds of people, from policemen to priests.
Look, drop! Look!
Some more excitable witnesses even suggested they'd met the aliens. But then one man saw the photographs and reached a rather different conclusion. And he knew exactly what he was talking about. Gulf Breeze, Florida. 17 years ago, this was the location for one of the most sustained series of flying saucer sightings in American history. Most of the hundreds of people who saw them became convinced they were watching aliens. But one man thought differently.
Any time that somebody says that there is something doesn't necessarily mean there was something. They have to be able to meet a scientific criterion of being real. Upon coming across the Gulf Breeze sightings, however, the configuration was radical enough that we could see up inside. And that was up inside was light, and it as though it was hot. And not only that, but it was circular in configuration.
Boyd Bushman thought he recognized what was powering these saucers, and he recognized it because he himself had worked on the technology. Bushman had spent 35 years in the forefront of weapons design, inventing the prototype of the Stinger missile before moving to Lockheed, at the heart of the American military saucer industry. While he was there, he and his team began experimenting with a radical new source of energy.
This is nothing more than 250 turns of number 30 wire. And we took the leads and plugged it into standard house current.
What happened next astonished everyone.
And there it is.
Even now, Bushman doesn't fully understand how this works. But when he saw the photographs of the Gulf Breeze saucers, he began to wonder if they were using the same technology.
You can see it start smoking.
This experimental coil is extremely dangerous and becomes very hot within seconds. But Boyd believes that explains the white glow inside the Gulf Breeze saucers, which he thinks are unmanned drones.
If you modify the voltages and the frequencies, this configuration may well fly. In fact, should fly perfectly well. And we believe that that's what the people in the Gulf Breeze experiment did.
So who were those people? He believes the saucers are another top-secret project developed by the U.S. military.
It was probably nothing more than another branch of us. We have many, many little caveats of top-secret areas. I've been in many of them. I did indeed stumble across this and probably did develop it. And they did indeed have it choose that area to demonstrate this technology. They are devious and capable of doing this and worse.
They've certainly been devious before. In the 1970s, there were a series of dramatic sightings of UFOs, but these were different. Many seem to be triangular rather than circular. Speculation among the UFO spotters became frenzied. But then this man came on the scene. His name is Jim Goodall, and he is, by day, a curator at the Museum of Flight in Seattle. But in his spare time, he does something else.
I go out in the desert when I have a chance. I've been out there over the last 15 years, about 80 some odd times.
Jim visits top-secret aviation sites to photograph America's covert black projects.
The best way to avoid being spotted is to rent a vehicle that's neutral in color. I had some infrared suppressive camouflage netting. I put that over the vehicle, throw some sagebrush on top of it, and they look around, they don't see anything that's obvious.
In 1988, Jim took a photograph of a craft that had been shrouded in the blackest secrecy for over 10 years.
I had my cameras out. I heard something take off. I saw a T-38 in the air, which I identified. And then over my head came an F-117.
The F-117 is the stealth fighter. For over a decade, it had been flying in the skies over America, any sightings conveniently explained away by the alien myth.
I went through a 36 exposure roll of Kodachrome, and I had, I think, 2 frames that weren't fuzzy or blurred. I was shaking so much. It was one of the more exciting times of my life. What I shot was this image right here.
With this photograph, Jim revealed the truth of the triangular sightings.
If you look at an F-117 head on, it looks like a flying saucer. So if you can't identify it, it's an unidentified thing. So if you don't know what it is and it's in the air, it's a UFO, an unidentified flying object.
In the years following Jim's photograph, the flurry of triangular sightings abated, but the sightings of circular craft did not. Just last month, the Mexican Air Force released some extraordinary UFO footage shot by their pilots using infrared imagery. Bizarrely, although 11 craft could be seen, only 3 registered on radar. So, have the real aliens finally arrived? Or could these saucers too have something to do with the American military?
Now, a dear friend of mine was named Ben R. Rich. He replaced Kelly Johnson at the Lockheed Skunk Works. And about 10 days before he died, I was speaking to Ben, but he told me, he said, Jim, we have things out in the desert that are 50 years beyond what you can comprehend. They have about 4,500 people at the Lockheed Skunk Works. What have they been doing for the last 20-some-odd years? They're building something.
Dad, when you're out there, did you see anything?
Let's not start that flying saucer nonsense again.